If nothing else, I can finally title a video John Drinks Water and it be accurate. Hello and welcome to John Drinks, and today is a little bit of an unusual one because I'm not going to be drinking anything. We've been here before with these kind of videos. I'm not feeling too well at the minute, and due to busyness, I have left recording for my usual Monday slot till, well, I mean, it's technically Monday now, and I don't have anything ready. And I was just going to kind of force myself to drink a whiskey, and then I was like, no, don't do that, that's not healthy. So today, I'm changing it up a little bit, through necessity more than anything else. I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the stuff that I should be covering in the next wee while, and also some of the things that are going on with the channel and stuff like that, just a general update. So we're going to be covering a lot of bottles of different stuff. There's going to be whiskey, there's going to be a little bit of gin, there's a bit of rum, there's some sherry in there as well for sherry fans, and I'm going to be drinking some water. We're also going to be taking a look at a book and some badges, so stay tuned for that. If this is an exciting way to spend your time, then I don't know what is. This is going to do well. So to kick off, I suppose we should kind of do an elephant in the room, because about a month ago I released a little teaser about some whiskies I was going to be trying out, and some of them have been released and some of them haven't, so I need to do a clarification on these, I suppose. I've got, here's 4 that I've been given. I've been gifted a lot of samples recently as well, and when I say gifted, I mean, like, you know, sort of exchanges. People have been like, here's a sample out of my collection, and I've been giving stuff back. That's what I mean by gifted. Or in some cases, people have just been showing up to work and be like, here, have this. But we'll get into that in a second. This has been a very kind contribution by Phil over at Whiskey Wednesday. I've got 4 samples here. The Highland Park Cask Strength No. 2, the Compass Box Hedonism Felicitas, the Daft Mill, which, amazing. I've never tried Daft Mill before. We'll get back into this in a minute, because the whole reason I have these, this is the crux behind it. And then lastly, the 2021 Ben Nevis. Viewers of the channel might know that I've got the previous, I don't actually have the bottle at the minute, it's actually at work. I've got sort of the 2020 release of the Ben Nevis 10 before they did all the redesign and all the stuff with Nika having to, you know, they can't use Ben Nevis anymore, basically. So Phil over at Whiskey Wednesday actually gave me a bit of a shout out when it came his turn to try the Ben Nevis 10, partly because I'm one of the few people that actually managed to get their hands on it and talk about it. And he was very complimentary and lovely, as he always is, just about everything, really. And basically, he sent me along a sample of the 2021. Now, I was already owed a delivery from him, and that's where we get back into the Daft Mill here. I'm going to pop these other ones down for a second. This is probably going to be a long video, by the way, so if you've got stuff to do, maybe just keep this on in the background, because I'm not sure how entertaining the visual element to this is going to be. Daft Mill, a W Club release. This was a special release, I believe, for a whiskey club. Daft Mill's very hard to get your hands on. It is scalper's delight, this stuff, and it is rare that people, I mean, people have tried it, you know, but it has a reverence that makes Macallan blush, you know. It kind of, it's pretty incredible. It's got a scarcity issue because it's a very small distillery, limited outrun, good whiskey, basically, and they have this ethos that they don't bottle it until they feel that it's ready, you know. So they didn't go, okay, we're open, and then 3 years later just throw whatever they had out, which a lot of new distilleries have had to do to pay the bills. Let's just make that. Google thought I wanted it for some reason there. That was strange. But let's be clear, you know, that is to pay the bills and make sure that the place stays open, you know, and no shame to that, because a lot of the new releases, I mean, I've got Nuckney and I've got Raasay, I've got the Lindors. I was very looking forward to that. I need to visit Lindors at some point, because I do actually have a ticket to go check them out at some point. I'm very keen to get a hold of their distillery exclusive, because it looks incredible. Like, the colour on it looks incredible. I have no idea what it actually tastes like, but it looks incredible from what lives. Back to the Daft Mill. Hard to get your hands on, basically. This will be the first Daft Mill I've ever tried, and it was a freebie. The reason I've got this is that a little while ago, about a year ago actually, Phil on Instagram put out a little promo saying, hey, I'll be giving out some samples of Daft Mill. Message me what got you into whiskey, and I'll pick some names of, like, you know, the most detailed stories. So I actually wrote out what my gateway whiskey was. I think I talked about the Balvenie 12. It'd be a little embarrassing. Should have gotten the story in front of me. Balvenie 12 was the first one that I liked. I'm pretty sure it was in Edinburgh when I, because I was like, well, I'm in the capital. I tried some whiskey before, and I was like, I don't know. And I tried the Balvenie, and I enjoyed it. Maybe one day I will tell that tale properly. And he got back to me and said, yeah, grand. I'll send you over a sample, thank you. And then things kicked off a little bit. When I say kicked off, it sounds like a Coronation Street drama. Nothing kicked off between us. He just got extremely busy. Anyone who's had to go back to work after the pandemic will know, particularly in a customer service role, A, there are not enough bodies to staff back up, and B, it's hell out there. Because it's just, people have been kind of saving up their social potency, for want of a better, I'm not looking forward to Christmas at all, for want of a better way of putting it. They've been kind of like storing it up, and they just want to release it all out. So this summer gone, not fun. Christmas coming, it's not going to be fun either. We've seen it already, it's a fucking bloodbath. So yeah, really keen to get my hands, really keen to try that. To the Ben Nevis 10 for a second, I have bottled my one. It's actually sitting over there on the fireplace. I was going to say fire escape then, that's not right. Again, I'm a bit out of it today. Yeah, so it's over there, and I'm going to be sending that over to him at some point, and I am hopefully going to be arranging something with him. I haven't actually discussed this with him, so I mean, you're all getting this at the same time. He might be watching this and being like, what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to be associated with you. I was just being nice, which, fair enough. But yeah, see how that goes. Hopefully he'll be up for doing something, even if it is just, you know, a release on the same day or something like that. I don't know. Although I do Mondays, he does Wednesdays. That could be a little bit tricky. I'll work something out. Highland Park. Really not had much in the way of Highland Park. Like, really not had much in the way of Highland Park. This is the cask strength number 2, 63%, and I need to do a bit of research about it. But I'm keen to give it a go. I'm definitely keen to give it a go. I've heard good things, you know, I've seen good things about it. But yeah, I think I've only ever tried Highland Park once, and I wasn't too taken by it. But I mean, this is more of a special. This is more of a, you know, an interesting bottling, I suppose, for want of a crueler way of putting it. And I always like seeing what distilleries can really do when they put the minds to it. So that'll be interesting. And then Compass Box. Really expensive version of the hedonism. Hedonism in and of itself is delightful stuff. I've tried the normal stuff. This is the Felistus 53%. I think it's about £120 the full bottle. So again, really exciting just to, like, you know, have a sample of this, because you can't get any more. Or, you know, you can probably source it on auction, blah, 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 but, you know, it's not readily available anymore. So it's a very exciting whiskey to give a go. Now then, I meant to send some samples back to Phil before now, because that one's ready to go. But because of what he's collected together for me, I kind of feel not obligated necessarily, kind of obligated, to try and bat back with something a little bit interesting. So I'm still thinking about what I'm going to send, but I need to pull my finger out and actually do it, because the postal service is about to go into meltdown, because, again, Christmas. I was going to send... This will make you laugh, actually. Anyone that watches both my channel and his. I was going to send him a sample of this, and then I was like, John, you dolt. The whole reason you bought the damn thing was because he was good about it in the first bloody place. So, maybe not that. I think I do still have some Bladnoch 10 kicking about. Well, that's an option. Anyway, I'll think. More samples. So, long before he took his new job, I knew a guy called Cody. That name might mean something to you if you watch Swedish Whiskey Girl. He's Mo's partner, and he's just taken a job as well as the brand ambassador looking after Tomatal. which is really exciting. He's in the bar that I work at a fair bit, as is Moa as well. We get to see them quite a bit. And he dropped in a couple of samples for me. And he was also like, if you need anything else, because I've been having a couple of distribution issues recently for getting Tom and Tal in through the distributor we have. I was like, if you can have a word, that'd be grand. It's always handy to know people. So I've kind of smudged it off a little bit, but I've got Tom Cigar, which I think is a Tom and Tal cigar malt, I would assume. I don't think I've ever tried any cigar malts for one very good reason. I don't smoke. But I've never tried a cigar whiskey because I don't smoke cigars. And that's kind of the whole point of them. But I'm intrigued to kind of just appreciate it on its own. So I'll be diving into that at some point. And this one makes a lot more sense. People will be aware that I'm something of a fan of Old Ballon True, and it's a fairly recent eye-opener for me. I don't know why more people don't drink it. I really like the no age statement one. I haven't tried the 10 yet, and I'm going to be trying the 15-year-old at some point. This is the Old Bal 15. Ooh. It's like candied bacon and Parma violets is what I'm getting off of that, but I also realise that is a terrible receptacle to do any kind of nosing out of, so let's not, let's not call it a day with that. We'll do a proper look at that at some point. More samples, and then we'll move on to a few bottles. Cool, so, it was my birthday recently. I had a pretty good week last week, all things considered, at work. Had some busy days, made a fair bit of money, things went well. We also had a couple of very generous people in. We were serving them, talking whiskey, doing the normal stuff, just making people feel welcome, being good at our jobs, because, do you know what? I'm too modest about this sometimes. I'm pretty fucking good at my job. And it shows sometimes when this happens. We've had a couple of groups in, and they were drinking expensive whiskey. Like, they were on, drams that are like £100, stuff like that. And they were enjoying themselves, and, they were kind of it was like a Wednesday, they were just treating themselves, they were just having a good time. What we tend to find is we get the whiskey drinkers in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, we get kind of people that can't get a table anywhere else in. Which is good information for me to know, because I can react to that. But that's kind of how it is at the moment. Anyway, why am I mentioning this? Well, because one table bought my colleague the last dram of the Kalila 35 that we have on the bar. He was kind enough to let me have a little bit as well. What a potent whiskey that is. I'm not going to sit here and give you 20 minutes on Kalila 35, because that is not a readily available or affordable whiskey by any stretch of the imagination. Is it good? Oh yeah. I was really taken by how licoricey it was, of all things. Really liked it. I like Kalila anyway. Kalila's a good whiskey overall. But yeah, the 35, something exceptional. Now then, would we have had a different perception of that had we not known what it was and how much it costs? It's entirely possible. That's why blind tastings are so much fun. But on my side of things as well, a separate group, it having been my birthday, got me what I describe as my unicorn whiskey, and we'll get more into this when I actually get round to covering it in a video. But this is a Murray McDavid 1981 Lochside. Now, if that name doesn't mean anything to anyone, it's because Lochside doesn't. I'm pretty sure they've been destroyed. Yeah, they've been demolished. They're gone. I've had my eye on specifically the 81 Murray McDavid bottle for a good long while, and I was working up the courage just to buy a sample of it. A horrible coincidence happened a few months ago where samples of this were actually available on the Whiskey Exchange, and I missed them because I was at work. One of the most random coincidences, and I hate it, but I finally get to try some. And in addition, my colleagues got together, and because I just turned 30, they got me a Glenfarclas 30. Which was completely unnecessary. They were either going to get the Glenfarclas 30 or the Dalwhinnie 30. I was like, you don't need to do that. That's really, you don't have to do that. We have a 1991 on the bar that would not break the bank at all. You do not need to get me a sample of Glenfarclas 30, but they did anyway, and I massively appreciate it. So I'll be doing that at some point, because I'm approachable like that. I'm realising as well, like, a lot of this is kind of like old and rare, vintage, difficult to find, so, you know, strap in for that, because, I don't know, maybe I'm going to have to do, like, revisit the Glenfiddich projects or something like that at some point, just to kind of, you know, bring it back down to earth a little bit. So that's, well, actually, no, one more sample. I think I've talked about this already. Tomatin 18. Why do I have this? It was part of the Very Good Whiskey flood sale ballot that they did. Turns out, because I've talked about the Glenterret peated that I got, turns out a lot of people got Glenterret peated. So a little bit shenanigans there, but do you know what? To hell with it. It keeps a good supplier open, and it's not... I don't feel like I've been robbed. I feel like they've been a little cheeky with what they've done, but I don't feel robbed. You know, so that's the important thing. And I get to try Tomatin 18. And to be fair, the Glenterret peated, I quite like it. So I'm not angry, you know? If it was a shit whiskey that I'm not vibing with at all, I mean, like, if a Haig Club rocked up, I'd be pretty furious. But as it is, I'm fine with it. So, yeah, so anyway, that's that. Let's move on to a gin. Because I need to reassure my patrons that this is happening at some point. Hopefully I'll get it recorded tomorrow when I'm feeling a bit more myself. This is a bottle of Porter's Gin. I've been meaning to cover this stuff for ages, because I've been a fan. It's an Aberdeen, I was going to say whiskey then. When was the last time I did something that wasn't whiskey? It's been a while, hasn't it? This is an Aberdeen-based gin. Set up by Alex Lawrence, who used to work at the Orchid Bar, I think it was. They kind of fancy themselves celebrities, but you know what? They make a good product, they know what they're doing, and some of them sport fantastic moustaches, so they get a pass. First came across this stuff when I was working at the Cafe Royal. It was one of the gins that was out, didn't do particularly well. Did need to be sold because most people will just kind of like, I just want any old gin, which tends to be how things go, sadly. Cold distilled for a light and natural flavour. Why am I talking about this with patrons? Well, first of all, if you want to support the channel, there'll be a link down to my Patreon down below, or you can also join the channel where you get emojis of Mo. But for those that are already patrons, I put out a monthly poll asking, what should I do next? You know, guide me, tell me what you want me to do. And this month they said, we want you to cover the gin. We want you to do Porter's Gin. So that was the winner, and I haven't yet recorded it because I'm terrible like that. This is not a very good advert for my Patreon because it's like, I'm a little slow on my projects. I'm getting around to it, don't worry. It's just, it's been one of those months. Yeah, so I will be doing this at some point and talking a little more about the really creepy botanicals in it. I say creepy, it's Buddha's hand. You can probably Google it and just be like, yeah, it looks a little unsettling, but it's not like, you know, I don't know, figs where wasps die in it or something like that. You know, it could be worse. Maybe that's the tropical Old Tom instead. But this is just the bog standard. And that allows me to segue onto something that's not a bottle of alcohol at all. Let's quickly check this is still recording. Oh! One of these is still on my jacket at work, so I can't talk about all of them. But I will probably do like a short video on these at some point. But segueing on to off of the porters and onto this. That's cute, isn't it? Yeah. Now, this doesn't have adaptive zoom because it's an old lens from... oh, fuck. These are something that I've supported for quite some time. And I'll probably do like a little video, maybe a short or something on these at some point because they're fucking adorable. They're so cute. This is a company called Gin Pin. And to be blunt, they seem to be struggling a little bit. Because, I don't know, the interest in it doesn't seem to have been kind of the almighty explosion that I expected these to be like selling out, to be honest, because they are fucking adorable. Also, I've got this one, which again, I'll need to like do a proper video on this at some point because I need to like play around with the lens and stuff to be able to make this work. They've got these which are like little copper effect versions. It's basically just the non-enamelized version of these in a different metal finish. But you know what? It looks really fucking nice, so I don't mind. Any Linden Lime fans? There's a little Linden Lime badge, and they've got, it's a collection of 20. You can buy them individually, and there's two options. They come with, I'm going to do a negative. Oh, also I've just moved, so focus is probably going to be off now. That's not great. They come with some tat, which is these Corky coasters with an etched-on design. Now, they're supposed to come together. Let me just grab a couple. This is not going to be a good illustration of this because they will not match. But they're supposed to like come together to make a map, and you're supposed to then like pin the badges onto the map. I couldn't care less about the coasters. Maybe that's just me. I just think they're a bit of unnecessary tat. But hey-ho. And they're also just not particularly aesthetically pleasing, if I'm completely honest. They just look like bits of cork which have had writing printed on them, which is what they are, let's face it. I'd much rather have just had the pin and card. And do you know what? I'm not mad at the price. I would have happily paid the same price just for the pin and card, because that's about the going rate anyway. I don't need this clutter, you know? That's a very minor thing. Also, if I'm completely out of focus right now, I apologise, because I had to move to get those, and then I didn't mark where I am, and this thing's very touchy, because there's like millimetres in it, so if I nailed that, I'll be amazed, to be honest. So they're called Gin Pin. I'll leave a link to them down below, actually, because, I mean, Christmas time's coming up, so they'll be like a fun little gift option, I suppose, if nothing else. I think they're really cute. I'm going to get some more. I'm kind of glad they haven't sold out yet, because I want to get some more, so that helps. Might get the Devil's Staircase, actually. Yeah, that's an attractive design. But anyway, that's by the by. I'll do a proper video on these at some point, because I want to lend a hand, to be honest. They've been on the go now. I've been following their exploits for at least 8 months, possibly longer. I think close to a year, actually. It's been a long, hard struggle for them to actually get this set up, because there's a lot of collaborative effort with that. They've got to reach out to the distillers and be like, hey, do you want to do this? And then they've got to get the designs done. They've got to source the work. You know, it's a lot to get a product launched of any sort. And I've been eagerly looking forward to them. And now I have some. And do you know what? I love having them. As part of my work attire, certainly, I will normally wear a blazer or a jacket of some sort. When I was working up at Ryan's, it was a tweed blazer, and now I'm downstairs, it's more of a suit jacket affair. Just a Primark job, nothing fancy. And I will wear a little pin badge. Historically, there've been things like Pokemon gym badges, or actually, I've got another one which I've got here, which you will not be able to see, because I mean, you literally have to like hold it up to your face to be able to see the detail on it. But this is a pin badge from the 70s of Nicholson's Gin. They were a brand that were relaunched a few years ago as part of the gin program at Nicholson's Pubs. They're owned by Mitchell & Butler now, and they relaunched the gin. Super Juniper heavy, a little pricey for what it is, to be honest, because it was a pretty bog standard gin, and they had massive distribution. They've now come back, similar recipe, but for the price point you can do better. I still liked it, but you can do better. I'm going to stop talking about badges now. I'm going to check that this is in focus, and if it isn't, I'm going to fix it. I didn't have to adjust the focus. I somehow nailed that. Oh, I love it when I'm great. It doesn't happen very often. Okay, cool. So, we've done badges, we've done a fair few whiskies. We're going to go back to some whiskey, actually. This is a bottle of Dewar's 18. That's cute, isn't it? This is a blend. Okay, story. Been doing some work with Dewar's recently at work. I was invited along to the Edinburgh, it's like an Edinburgh PR event for the trade, basically, for the launch of the Mezcal Smooth and the Caribbean Smooth Dewar's, which actually is not bad. I dig it. It works very well in a mixed drink, which we'll get back to. But do you know what, actually? It's perfectly fine, perfectly alright on its own. You know, I'm not going to say it's world-changing by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, you know, the cask influence definitely comes through. And I would say it's actually a good one for people that are wanting to get into whiskey, but just aren't there yet. It's a good kind of introduction. So there we go. And then at the end, they wanted to talk to me because I'm looking after a whiskey bar at the minute, and they basically wanted to, you know, see what they could do to kind of help us transition over a little bit. So I was like, well, highballs are popular at the minute, so how about we do a bit of work together on getting a highball menu for downstairs done using the doers. And they were like, yeah, sure, we'll do that, that's absolutely fine. So we did some work, and we've got the highballs on the menu, and they're doing alarmingly well. Like, I was expecting them to do all right, you know, as an option. They're doing a lot better than they have any right to be doing, to be completely honest. I mean, they're nice drinks, don't get me wrong, but like, I mean, yikes, to be honest. We're getting through a lot of fucking doers. It's probably our most popular whiskey now. But hey, do you know what? Rum finish blended whiskey, ginger ale and mango juice. It works pretty fucking well, turns out. Anyway, and do you know what, actually, it's been really good as like a gateway for people that have been... So we're quite blunt when people come in and we're kind of like, okay, cool, so he's the whiskey drinker and you've been dragged here against your will because it's an anniversary, a birthday, what's the kind of... And they'll laugh, and it happens a lot, so we just kind of make a bit of a joke about it. And they're kind of like, well, I'd like to try something with whiskey. And we're like, don't worry, we've got you covered. And that's where the highballs normally come in, and they really enjoy those, and then they migrate on to, well, do you know what? Maybe I can just like try it on its own. They try it with a bit of soda or something like that, you know, and then they start getting onto the whiskies. We've had a fair few people coming off of those and be like, well, do you know what? I actually want to give a whiskey a go. And then we migrate them onto a dram, and then before you know it, they're actually like, oh, actually, I'm actually okay with this. I like this. So it is absolutely serving a purpose. And if nothing else, it's a tasty drink. So there we go. Back to this. As we were doing some development work, and pissing around with like espressos and all sorts of mad shit. He also dropped off a bottle of Dewar's 18. And this was a full bottle when I got it, obviously, duh. And I have really been enjoying it, genuinely. It's just really buttery and caramelly and a little bit sweet, a little bit biscuity. It's kind of like if you tried aging custard creams, is for want of a better way of putting it. It's not a very cerebral whiskey, but it's just nice. You know, in the same way that like a Johnny Walker Green Label, it's not a particularly cerebral whiskey, but it's just nice. You know, that kind of a thing. So I've been enjoying this. They actually gave us 2 bottles. One I kept on site, which was good because we had a table of Karens in, and they were furious at, what was the problem? Something about, something to do with the wine wasn't the right temperature, or some like really like it was a mountain out of a molehill kind of a thing. I've been getting these every once in a while. For every lovely table we get, well, for every 5 lovely tables we get 1 table that is just appalling, like straight from hell. And I get the feeling that's going to go up a little bit over the Christmas period because, I mean, it tends to bring out the worst in people, sadly. But I did use this as kind of like a rescue bottle. I didn't rescue the table because I felt we'd done anything wrong, because frankly their complaints were spurious at best. I rescued it because I wanted a quiet life, and I was just like, here's some free whiskey if you just stop fucking shouting. I didn't say that to them, but in my head I'm just like, okay, this is the equivalent of sticking whiskey on a baby's dummy to shut them the hell up for 5 minutes. And it worked. You do sometimes just get kind of like the Queen Karen at a table that is just after something for free. Anything for free. I've been working in this industry for 12 years now. Jesus Christ. Fuck. Wow. Yeah. You learn the territory after a while, and you kind of learn how to spot them. Still get it wrong sometimes. There was a table I was expecting to be absolutely horrible yesterday, and they were delightful. Absolutely charming and lovely. Unfortunately, we did still have a horror table, so it kind of balanced out. But hey-ho, that's hospitality. Some people just treat you like dirt. It's not great, but it is as it is, unfortunately. You're not allowed to kill them. Kind of wish you were. But anyway, that's due as 18. I'll do a little review of that at some point. We are now moving off of whiskey for a little bit. I'll finish on a whiskey. There we go. Let's go on to some rum. Not done some rum in a while, and the last time we did rum, I think it was Crackham. We're coming back to a distillery which I have covered before. Any old-time viewers of the channel may recognise the name Wester. They are a distillery in Glasgow. They had kind of a failed launch initially with the spiced rum. Didn't go down very well because it just didn't stand out. It was too generic, and it just kind of languished. So they went back to the drawing board and they came up with a much more homespun, dad shed kind of a design. And I've got 3 bottles here. For no other reason than there is a release that I had my eye on, and there's a couple of others that I was curious to try anyway, so I bought some. And then the day after I bought them, they released a massive Black Friday sale. Now, in hindsight, I timed my purchase very badly. So I did something which you really shouldn't do. And I cancelled the existing order and then replaced it with the discount code, because I'm not proud of myself, but I did do that. So, we have... named and shamed myself. I may have used the cat's name on the reorder. I genuinely did. Because I was a little ashamed. But it was such a difference in price. Hey, sometimes you gotta be a bit thrifty, okay? Anyway, arm scum. Anyway, we've got some rum here. So the first one is a variant of the one that I've tried already. In times gone by, I tried the chocolate rum. Fucking lovely stuff. Really, genuinely lovely stuff. And I was going to get another bottle, and then for Christmas, and because it seems to be the trendy flavour of the moment for some reason, because up until now it's never existed, I totally did not eat 1,000 of them when I was a kid. Chocolate orange. Everything is chocolate orange at the minute. Is it just me? It's not just me. It's like, I don't know, it's like a trending flavour or something. Like, everything is chocolate orange at the minute. I've seen chocolate orange popcorn, there's chocolate orange rum, which I'm very excited to give a go, actually, because their usual chocolate, fucking great. It says we're made with leftover Dominican cocoa husks from Glasgow Bare Bones Chocolate, batch code 0521. Do not drink if you're pregnant, 8 UK units in the bottle. I am actually keen to go to the distillery at some point and have a look around. So I had a look at where it was, and it turned out it's basically down the road from a wedding I went to 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, could have taken my fella there, because he really likes his rum as well, so he'd probably have been quite up for that. So yeah, chocolate orange, really excited to give that a go at some point. I've not even opened it yet, so I'm not going to give it a nose or anything like that. This ticks so many boxes, this next one, it's frightening, so I really hope it's not terrible. I mean, I can't imagine I could possibly hate this, because it's just everything. It's alcohol, for starters. This is Sherry Cask number 23. It's a cask-aged rum in PX barrels. What's not to love? I love Pedro Jimenez, I love Sherry Cask finishes with whiskey, I love these guys' rum. It's not the most approachable rum on the planet. I will quickly just say that, you know, if you're expecting like Captain Morgan's, you know, sugary bullshit, not this, not this. If you were looking for a slightly more challenging pot still rum for you to kind of like think about this stuff. Anyway, I want to get this into the bar that I'm working at some point, because this just seems such a natural fit for the kind of stuff that we do. But I don't think we have any kind of a relationship with them, unfortunately. One for further on the line. But anyway, on the back of this it just says, no nonsense spirit, made the old school way in the West End of Glasgow. I don't know why I didn't comment that it was in the West End of Glasgow. Also, I believe this one's slightly stronger. It is, yes, this one's 46%, whereas the other one was 40. So also, higher ABV. We love to see a 46. Also, I love the bottle design. cute, right? There are still some old bottles of Wester kicking around. I don't actually know if the distillery was sold or what, because they had quite a radical change, just in terms of everything, really, in terms of like, how they do stuff. I don't know. There's maybe more of a story there than I'm telling. I don't know. All I know is they're in a very good place at the minute in terms of they are belting out some great stuff. And lastly, coffee rum. I love me some coffee. Anyone who's watched my shenanigans with making cocktails in an AeroPress, or my shenanigans with making, again, with the AeroPress. Was it the AeroPress I used? The pumpkin spice latini, I think I called it. Did I use the AeroPress on that, or did I use a mocha pot? I don't remember myself. I remember it was fucking great. And I used a rum in that, actually. I used Dark Matter. Let me tell you, actually, just, go watch the video. It was a great drink. I recommend you do it. Now it's maybe not PSL season anymore, but still a great drink. I actually have tried this. I cracked it open, and it's delightful. Hang on. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. It's a really delicate, fruity, I would imagine a light roast coffee. Rum infused with coffee beans, 40%, 20 cl. Actually, very... actually, no, I'm misreading that. I thought for a second it said it was using green coffee beans, but it's not. It's Dear Green Coffee Roasters. I know that name. Anyway, so that's their coffee rum. I've wanted to get my hands on this for a while. I kind of want to try most of the Wester portfolio, because all of it looks amazing. They've released an overproof recently. They've done a white... what else have they done? A berry one, is it summer fruits or something like that, or wild berries or something? It's a bright pink, really just like the colour looks enticing. When you look at a colour or something, you're just like, I want to give that a go. It's that kind of a luscious, radiant pink colour. And it sells out very fast, so it's got to be a reason why, right? Maybe. Yeah, they just do good work. I mean, they do the spice rum still and stuff like that. I'm keen to try more of their stuff. This is more of kind of gravitating more towards the gimmicky stuff. I'm well aware of that. But you know what? It's not really that gimmicky, because it's actually just well-made stuff. Traditional rum drink, like, your traditional rum and coke crowd might not agree with that, because obviously it's doing a different job. This stuff, they could just chuck a load of sugar in it and call it a day. They'd probably have an easier time of it, but they don't want to do that, and respect. Moving off of rum to another different alcohol. This is something I wanted to give a go for quite some time. This is Innocente Fino. I've already belted into this. This is lovely. It's much more delicate than the Finos that I've had in the past. I mean, most recently before this was the Tio Pepe Enrama, which I am going to do yearly, because I'm loving the Enramas. I really am, genuinely. Like, the Tio Pepe is kind of your bog standard, readily available Fino. Still good Fino, but the Enrama just takes that to another level. Every edition is different, and it's beautiful stuff. But this is much more delicate, it's gentle, it's much more introducible. It's much more of a introductory Fino sherry. If you're trying to get people into sherry that's not crap, or they've got a particular perception of sherry as the stuff in the blue bottle, it's delicate, it's brioche-y, it's quite moussey, like a vanilla mousse kind of a flavour. It's very drinkable, which I've had some Finos which it can be a little bit hard as like a sessionable drink, if that makes sense. Wine has a very particular kind of association with it, and we don't have the same kind of sherry culture that obviously they do in Spain and other parts of Europe. We don't have the same kind of drinking culture, full stop. They have a much healthier relationship with alcohol just in general. You know, because they've kind of integrated it into their culture and made it a part of life, as opposed to this kind of like, you know, mysticized thing that's mistreated. And yeah, you know, they do just have a healthier relationship in general with it. But anyway, there's a little bit of detail on the back here. I tend to get the half bottles just because it's just me, and you want to keep sherry fresh. Once you open the bottle, don't keep it for too long. So I do actually need to, if I'm going to record this, it needs to be soon. The Innocente Palomino grapes from Machanudo Alto Vineyard, cask fermented, matured under Velo de Flor using the Solera system, served chilled at 10 degrees centigrade. Jerez de la Frontina. This was actually a recommendation, not a direct recommendation, more of a recommendation by, oh god, what was her name? Oh no! Oh, I can picture her face and I've completely forgotten her name. That's terrible, John. Oh, I'm literally playing her videos through my head because she introduces herself as, "Hi everyone, it's..." and then I'm just stumbling at the... Oh, that's terrible. Whitney Adams, Whitney A. There we go. Bloody hell, that took a minute. If you've never watched any of her stuff, fantastic wine content. She does a few cocktails and stuff. She has fun, you know. She's not been terribly active recently, but if you check out her channel, there's a video on there explaining why. And we won't go any further into that. I'll leave a link. Yeah, so that's the Innocente Fino. Delightful stuff. Love the label. Beautiful wine. Easy drinking. I would imagine this is stunning with food. Let's just say food. I've got some chorizo in the fridge, actually. That sounds like a delightful time to be having with this at some point. Not today, though. And then, before we get to my last whiskey, I'm going to talk about something else. So, there's a video on this channel that has done way better than I was expecting it to. This happens quite a bit, where I record videos that I think, do you know what? It's never gonna take off, but I want to do that video, and then out of nowhere it just kind of takes off. So the video in question was a video on how to use Drambuie. It is, at the time of recording, the #1 search result on Google videos, which is incredible. The video itself, you know, I still dig the video. I think there's some things I would have done a little bit differently had I known it would have gone viral, but I did not maybe put the effort in that I probably should have done for a video of what is churning out about 40 views a day, which is not stunning, but when you consider, like, BoozTube is a slow mover, that kind of regular traffic is genuinely impressive. Not to toot my own horn, I'm surprised about it. So I thought, well, do you know, what other liqueurs can I look into? So one that I'm a big fan of, is, a very bad way of illustrating that, actually. I'm going to have to take it out. Chambord. I've talked about these before, and I want to do a video on them at some point. And sooner rather than later would probably be a good one to do it on. These are books, they're promotional books for how to use Chambord. And there's 2 books. One of them is drinks, and it's pretty standard stuff like icy pink lemonade, 1.5 shots of Pravda vodka, half a shot of Chambord, 1.5 shots homemade sour mix, half a shot sugar syrup. I believe this was done in the 90s? I'm pretty sure it still has the picture of the old Chambord bottle before they redesigned it. If I can find... By the way, it's beautiful photography in here. It's very erotic, for want of a better way of putting it. There's one here just called Sweet Tart. Sparkling Cosmo, Le Bohème. I'm not finding a picture of the bottle, which is very bizarre given this is essentially promotional material. A lot of sexy photography in this, actually. It's almost uncomfortable. Vanilla and jasmine martini, that sounds delightful. Everything in this used Pravda vodka, so I mean, it goes without saying that the guys that have Chambord also own Pravda. Yep, here we go, right at the front. It's got the old Chambord bottle, which I actually have on the shelf. I will not be cracking that open. But one of the other exciting things about this is that there's 2 books in here, and the other one talks about food. So using Chambord in your cooking. which is lovely. Most of it is as like a sauce or a jus. There's some like gelée cubes, which you can like use gelatin with. I'd probably use like agar-agar or something like that. But yeah, I would be keen on doing kind of like a 5 things to do with your bottle of Chambord that's not a French martini. Because I mean, actually nobody's over French martini. It just tastes like cake. It gets you fucked up and it tastes like cake. That's why the French martini is popular. But yeah, I'd be keen on kind of doing a sequel on that. Now, I'm already well aware that it's probably not going to do as well as the Drambuie video. I'm not looking for bottled lightning here. Simple reason being that Chambord has been covered a lot more than Drambuie has, so it's a lot harder to get up the ranks in that respect. I don't expect anything will come of a video about Chambord in the same way that a video about Drambuie might take off. But I want to do it anyway, and that's kind of where the Drambuie video came from, so I think that's fair. There we go. Let's finish up with a whiskey. I don't know if I'm going to review this or not. In fact, I don't think it's going to last, to be honest. I went to Cadenheads because I live in Edinburgh and I'm lucky enough to be able to just to nip into Cadenheads and be like, what have you got? I don't frequent there too often because it's not massively out of the way, but it's not like... I have to choose to go there, basically. You know, it's in a part of the Royal Mile which I wouldn't venture down normally. It's also like out of the way enough for the tourists that you don't get pestered too much, which is nice for me, probably not so nice for the shop, although their mileage may vary, I don't know. This is a Cadenhead bottling of an Altmore. It's an 11-year-old bourbon stroke sherry wood type. I got the 20cl and it's 46%. Always non-chill, always natural colour. You don't even need to check with Cadenheads. They won't go near it, won't entertain it. I always like getting indie bottlings because it gives you an opportunity to try the whiskey as God intended. We, at the bar I'm working at the minute, we have a bottle of Dalmore. It's a Glenmore bottling. Is it a Glenmore? Yeah, it is. It's a Dalmore 11-year-old. No sherry cask. And it's not been anywhere near Patterson's hands. So I've been joking that it's Dalmore if social services intervened and took them away before any more harm got done to them. And you get a bit of a laugh about it, but I mean, Dalmore's on record for kind of like, you know, the amount they interfere with the whiskey versus the price that they command for it. It doesn't quite tally. The bizarre thing is as well, like, Dalmore, even in that state, it's still nice whiskey. That's the thing. It's still very nice, drinkable whiskey. It could just be a lot better, you know? So it does make you wonder, kind of like, you know, what would happen if they just left it be? How good would it be then? Well, we've basically been selling that off of the premise of like, do you want to drink the pig without the lipstick, basically? And people have been like, yes, I do. And they've been reacting very well to it. But yeah, it's always fun to kind of like have those bottlings where you get to see what it's like without its knickers on, for want of a better way of putting it. It's probably a crass way of putting it, but you know what? Welcome to the channel. And with that, I think I'm done. I'm going to finish up. I feel like I've been talking for quite some time. I could do a what's on my shelves at some point. I don't know how popular that would be. Also, the shelves are in massive, not disrepair, but I mean, you know, not tidy, certainly. But I could, if people wanted. I'll do all the pleading now, so if you've enjoyed this, if you feel like supporting the channel, do thumb the video up because it helps with algorithm nonsense. And if you're not subscribed already, then do subscribe to the channel because the rest of the videos I do are nothing like this one. So if you liked this format, just do us a favour and click it anyway and then ignore me. No, don't do that, that's rubbish. And leave me a comment down below actually, is there anything that I have mentioned here that you're looking forward to? What do you think of Cadenheads? Should I talk about more sherry? Are you going to check out Gin Pin? What else have I talked about? A lot. Can wish me a happy birthday. It was last week now, but I mean, hey ho. I did nothing for my 30th. I worked on my 30th. Ah, it's a sad existence. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and do join me next time, where I'll be, well, drinking something.